It's reading things like this that make me worry it's going to sap out my creative energy and be like, no, I might start writing like this now. Maybe a whole other shit though. Can we get one as fortified as this? Question mark. Remove the full stop. So there's a lot of changes that have been in this stuff. It's basically like rewriting an entire new story. This section goes on for a little bit. You're going to get one as fortified as this. And we need to send out a survey team to help us find some of the words for everyone. Okay. Short of any illegal prison ship was run going down. Search junkers. Derelict. Pick up the least broken derelict we can find. So we need to send out a survey team to help us find somewhere that works. Or one that can be fixed. It's smaller. This is another thing that just makes no sense. We need a meeting place where we can all get together. The station is big enough to accommodate that, although it'd be best if we make it smaller than the common area. There's absolute non sequiturs.
Fuck what now?
I don't know. Yeah, this is what happens when you just try and get a computer to do all your writing for you. The amount of work to be done to turn the story into something that is viable means that you might as well have just written it in the first place. And I promise for anyone who is worried about, like, I don't know how to tell a story, I promise you know how to tell a story. If you can send me a message that says I don't know how to tell a story, then you can tell me a story. You have the words are inside you, you can do this. Everyone has a story in them, and you all have the words. If you have the ability to communicate, you can tell the story.
You gotta be willing to put forward the effort to write it down.
Yeah, exactly. And to me, like, it's weird, because for me, this is going to sound counterintuitive, and I don't mean it in the way that it's going to come out. To me, I didn't think writing was that special, because I knew that, because it was the thing that I had, I felt that everyone has words, everyone has feelings. So when I started writing, I was like, oh, no one's really going to be that interested in it, because everyone already has words, everyone has a story. But I think there is actually a merit to it now when I look at something that a machine has created and gone, all right, actually, you need that human element, you need that person element to make the story, yours. And that is what makes a story great, is that individuality to it. As soon as you try and reduce it and mush it down and try to turn it into this kind of algorithmically generated whatever, it becomes adirectional and soulless and confusing, and any kind of meaning that you put into it beforehand just disappears, and that completely eliminates the idea of a story that you tell, that you want to engage people with. Anyway, this line can go. Yeah, AI can only write the AI experience, and because AI is dependent on basically just taking in so much input, it is basically just going to churn out a kind of food processed version of that input. Like, there was this writer that was claiming, I mean, I guess they were a writer probably, claiming that basically, as a novelist, you could, once you had written like 20 novels, you could apparently put them all into his AI generator and it would just write the rest for you. I'm like, why would you want to do that? Why would you? Doesn't make any sense. He touches the finger to the map and points to another spot.
That sounds like the words of somebody who doesn't actually enjoy writing.
Yeah, it does. I love writing. I love stories. I love editing. I love everything about it. Is just it's one of the best things to me to create stories. I have so many in my head, and I only wish that I had time to sit down and write them all. He spread out the map, but he hasn't. He said points to another spot. He hasn't even pointed at a first spot yet. And this is something that can happen when you're in your own edits, is if you take out, say he pointed to another bit earlier, and you take that out, coming across this will not make sense. He touches a finger to the map. I don't know why he has a map. We're past the point of we should be using computer screens, really. Touch the finger to the map. I know. Hollow map. That makes it sci-fi. Let's go back and add that in earlier. Where is it? Shit, where'd it go?
Holograms. That makes it sci-fi. Sure.
Exactly. Yeah. He pulls out his slate. Slates can do anything. Slate from his pocket, and image onto the table, and I've already said on the table, so that can go away. Cool. All right, you can see all the changes we had to make on the left-hand side here. There are so many, it might actually be outnumbering. It's not quite outnumbering the document yet, but it will get to that point. Touch the finger to the hollow map, pointing. Pointing one of the Junker locations. This will be the.
At a certain point, it's more work to try and make sense of the whole thing than to try and just write your own story from scratch.
Yeah, exactly. It's basically using this as a very bare bones. And the problem is, even if I shaped this into a story that I was pleased with, the fact that I've had to do so much is probably going to reflect on the final thing. That this is such a... You know when you see movies and things like that, some of the story items just don't make sense. This is where that's going to be, because so much has had to been changed that it still has this weird kind of like slightly scoliosis skeleton running through it. That you've added stuff too that kind of fleshes it out enough to make it cool. But there's going to be a point where you look in like the very bare bones of it and go, well, why is this happening? Sci-fi literary journal. No one writes sci-fi short stories for the money. Yeah, exactly. They do it because they love writing them. Pay is awful. Yeah, it's these people not understanding the industries and trying to make money from it in the same way that AI, they're not AI artists, but the people who run AI to make art try to do as well. This will be the dry dock. Find an upgrade. Has equipment and supplies, be a good place. How's our equipment and supplies? Operate from there for the time being. My tail curls. My ears flatten slightly. You're saying you won't make millions of dollars for your sci-fi short story, Sonic the Hedgehog Goes to the Moon? No, I do not think you will, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's the funniest thing to me about people that are like submitting these to, like, submitting AI stories to people to try and get money out of it. We don't get that much money in the first place, come on. So.
No, exactly. Like, I have full-on books, and like, my royalties for that as an indie writer is like maybe 140 quid every 6 months. So that's like, cool, I get like $20 a month from my books, maybe, that I only get once every 2 years.
Wonderful.
Yeah, but that's only, like, if I was more successful, then it would probably be more than that. But it's like, you know, like 90% of writers are on that kind of income from their work specifically. Short story writers even less, unless you have your own Patreon, or are a very successful anthology writer. You haven't crushed my dreams.
No, it's making a joke about LS's thing.
Oh, I see, yes. I mean, now, I'm not as successful as I want to be. I'm doing alright for where I have been, and this is... I'm at the peak of my career so far, but that doesn't mean I can't get higher, is the thing. But, like, on a relative scale, I'm, like... doing this to earning an income from this, I am nowhere near earning an income from this. I would need to sell... I worked this out. What was it?
Yeah, I've got a fucking pipe dream for where I want to get my thing published.
Oh yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, like pipe dream of all pipe dreams is Darrington Press.
Darrington Press?
It's a little publishing group run by Critical Role.
Oh, okay.
And so like the main thing is like they have a lot of like representation there.
Okay.
So like I feel like that would also be good, not only because they're pretty high profile, but also like chances are they won't have me like change the sexuality and gender of certain characters.
Yeah, that was
like a big thing is I want to have my characters be who they are and not have it be like some pivotal thing. I just want them to just be that.
Yeah, exactly, and yeah, and this is one of the reasons why I love your stories for that reason. Is for this thing. So I don't know why it's all caps Zeta. I'm sorry. I hope it is.
Yeah, I just like having characters that are like X gender or X sexuality and just are that, and it's not like a plot point or anything.
Yeah, and
a character that is casually that.
Yeah, and there's no reason why you shouldn't have that, and I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I very much approve this thing because that's what makes him really cool.
I see you scritching.
I was rubbing my knuckles together. I'm stimming.
Hell yeah, stimming.
I'll burn my knuckles off.
Don't do that.
No.
You need those.
I know.
For stuff.
My bend of my fingers.
Things.
Stuff and things. Articulating things. Sold to a marketing company to earn an income for your writing. Yeah. Yeah. Long claws. Yeah. Look at that. Num num num. My ears flattened slightly. We're not exactly Imperious Furry team at the moment, at least as far as the Darius goes.
Yeah, Muse, like I was saying, fun fact, Fox is trans. It is never, like, inherently mentioned. It's just kind of like a thing that's just kind of like hinted at.
Yeah.
And then Spring is always referred to as they, them pronouns, just like, period.
Yeah.
Never questioned, it's never, like, elaborated on, it's just they, them.
In fact, I think the only one that you've ever actually had to explain, and that's only in the fiction that I know, was is it Hazza? Hazza.
Yeah, Hazza is...
Hazza.
But also, I have not, like, remarked upon Hazza in the main book.
Yeah, no, I know, because you said that was later, right?
Like, references to them in the book, but I have not, like, deliberately, like, referred to them with any of the characters.
Yeah. Whoa, this line. Don't we need to deal with this whole transformation thing first? Ide shakes his head. We won't be doing much more of that. What?
Oh wait, was that the Fox thing?
No, this is no, this is the next line in the story. Sorry.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
Don't we need to do this whole transformation thing first? And he said we won't be doing.
Yeah.
What does
It's
this
my
mean?
story.
Oh yeah, yeah. As soon as we have a place to call home, we can resume the rest of the plan.
How the hell did that end up in there?
I don't know. You want to do all this while remaining 4 inches tall? Ide is 4 inches tall?
Wait. Hold on. What? Did you submit the shitpost story into this?
Maybe. But it didn't.
Okay, that's probably why it's happening. It's probably because you put the shitpost story in.
Yeah. Okay, so I wrote a shitpost fan fiction where basically everyone got turned into some kind of meme or kink, and it was like, and yeah. So anyway, so apparently Ide is only 4 inches tall.
Yeah, I got turned 4 inches tall.
Yeah, that's
something like that.
That's why this plushie was in it. Okay, I wonder what remnants of that's going to be. Okay. So that's why I was squeaking so much. Okay, never mind.
Okay.
Never mind. All right. Well, that's not a
I mean, I was gonna make another joke, but I decided against it.
Okay. But it's just the idea that Ide would suddenly decide, instead of dealing with the fact that we're all like just suffering from this weird shit, it's like, right, new base first. That might take up a year, then we'll deal with everything else.
Yeah, I think references to all that might be worth just scrubbing from that.
Yeah.
Because that was like one-off shitpost bullshit.
Yeah. Ray's definitely not 6 inches. I am not. No, because she was like 50 feet tall. Ladies, please. Tex is not a lady. She's just shy of 3 feet. Oi. This doesn't make sense. There's some dimensional fuckery going on here. Dimensional fuckery? Tex asks. That's what I said. Right, sorry. Okay.
See that.
Oh yeah, because here's Kane, having been inflated. Kane bobs in the breeze, wiggling helplessly.
Kane balloon.
Kane balloon.
The greatest form of balloon, the Kane balloon.
The rest of this is all just trying to get Bray to stand up straight. For some reason. This does not make sense. Alright, so this can all go. So that I would probably call that the end of the scene, because all of this just is completely incongruous. I mean, that's how much work that would be to try and turn that into something that you could actually, like, would make sense. It's just not worth the time.
Yeah, definitely not worth it.
Yeah. Okay, so we have all of these suggestions here. I'm just going to go through and accept them all so we can see what the story actually looks like. Wow.
It looked somewhat coherent.
There are so many that it's not even like... Ah! Hello. Let's see. Team set up on here. Let's go accept all these. And you see everything turning back into something looking a lot more coherent. There we go. Stop. Is there more? Yes, there's a lot more. Jeez, that was a lot of changes. Okay, cool. Alright, so now we have this next one. This is a whole other bit. I guess I'll put that on a different page. Insert. Break. Page break. Whop. We'll accept that. I would love to be rich and famous enough to outsell any kind of other various author that someone may or may not mention. Because it would be nice. What have we got going on? Sorry, I was just checking on something. Okay, so what's this story? This is one I don't think I had. Oh no, I do remember what I put on here. I'm not going to mention which one that was. Didn't actually end up as. This ended up being a weird first-person like dream thing. I'm not really sure exactly what this was supposed to be. Snarl and push myself up onto all. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, this is another one.
This is another bit. Yeah, I put several bits in to try and look at the way different stories would get formatted and how to change them into something coherent. Snarl and push myself up onto all fours, tearing the sheets away from the mattress and duvet and flinging them to one side, leaving the bedding bare. I crawl over to the window and throw open the curtains, standing on my bedside table and looking out over the city. The sun has risen now, but it... Sorry?
Kinda coherent, okay.
Yeah, not bad. It isn't too warm outside and the cool air feels good, like it might help calm me. There are more people walking up and down the streets than usual. I guess this is, I'm not in a Omega 9 sitting, I guess, maybe. And they seem to be heading towards the same area where I saw those three men yesterday. Part of me wonders if they were the ones that have been following me, but I dismiss the idea. That's obviously some previous scene. I don't recognize that. I don't think they were anyway. They seem to be trying to blend into the crowds when I was watching. But if they're actively trying to blend into crowds, then... Anyway. I'm not sure how long I stand there, my mind racing, but eventually I pull myself together and climb back under the covers. I have to put the covers back onto the bed first, seeing as I threw them onto the floor. Slipping back into the bed, Ida's right, I am feeling strange. I wish I could tell him everything, but I can barely think straight. I wonder if it means I have a fever or if it's something else. I haven't felt this way since the night before last when I woke up in bed with Forks. I hadn't realised how much I missed him. I fall asleep, curled up beneath the covers, tail wrapped around my paws, head on my arm. I wake up sometime during the night Wait, it's daytime. I fell asleep the whole day. Unable to get comfortable and curl up tighter, my tail twitching. I remember the dream. It's the first time I ever had a dream like that. It was a dream of a place... Oh, this is like that Batman thing.
What?
Okay, so this guy made an AI Batman fan movie using ChatGPT, and basically it just generated like vague, ephemeral, sort of atmospheric sentences that are like, if you repeat enough in a certain term, it can sort of sound like generic, dramatic kind of like thing.
Okay.
It was a dream of a place of blackness and white and red and green and blue, a place of endless trees and mountains and hills and rivers and oceans and seas. It's basically just listing everything to try and evoke sentences in your head to try and make some kind of mental image, but it's so vague, it doesn't actually build you anything in your head. Mountains and rivers and oceans and seas and skies. It's very repetitive.
Have you heard about the, did you ever hear about the Seinfeld AI thing?
I did, yes.
That was very interesting.
Yeah. I tried to use the same, I think it was the same thing I tried to make the very first time I tried it. I think it was called Botnik, and it doesn't work anymore. Because that was actually more interesting the way that was put together, but it was literally just a predictive text generator. So you could go and pick the words. This was something that just generates sentences. And obviously this is the kind of stuff that it will give you that people think AI is worth writing. But it's obviously, this is the thoughts of people who have like probably don't read and also don't write. And just hear like dialogue on movie trailers or in movies and think that is how you tell a story. And in some places it is, but not like this. This is like the same sort of scattershot, like if you throw everything at a sentence, something will inspire someone. Sunsets and sunrises and sunrises. I remembered it clearly, though I didn't know why. I was lost in it, and I knew I was dreaming, but I couldn't understand why. I tried to recall the dream, but it was gone like it had never been. You remember the dream, but I can't recall the dream. This is the rubbish. This is rubbish. I woke up and I was cold. I lay there shivering. You also look at this. Every single sentence begins with I or it. I remembered. I woke up. I lay there. I was in my bedroom. I looked around. I stepped out. I stood up. This is it's easy to fall into this kind of habit with narrative. And I know there have been times when I have done this before in small amounts. But it's very, like, if you line up all your sentences in a row and you see like the same word more than like twice, I would say, unless you're doing something very specific, you need to change your sentence structure, because it is not going to be varied enough to keep someone's attention, and it's going to become stale very quickly. And a way to break out of that sometimes is sometimes just to like challenge yourself. Put a keyword in the sentence at the beginning and see how to challenge yourself to write it that way, just to break it up. So like with this one, say for instance, if you did really want to keep a line like this, you could say, then the dream was gone. Try as I might. It never stir me in the same way as when I can't spell. As if it had never happened, and try as I might, those scenes could never stir me in the same way as when I experienced them in my sleep. There we go. That's if you were desperate to keep a line like that. That would be my suggestion to someone as an editor. You alright?
Oh, sorry, stretching.
Okay. Lay there shivering, heard footsteps coming up the stairs. They are not in Omega 9 right now. Obviously, because there's a street somewhere. I sat up and I looked around. I was in my bedroom, in my room. In your room, in your bedroom? In my bed, in my bed. I looked around for Ide. He was nowhere to be seen. Wait. Heard footsteps coming up the stairs. Looked around for Ide. He was nowhere to be seen. I wondered if he'd left or if he'd fallen asleep somewhere nearby. I stood up and I walked over to the door and I opened it. I stepped out in the corridor and I saw him. Okay. He was standing there, leaning against the wall, looking at me. He smiled and he waved. I waved back. And I walked over to him. This is very perfunctory descriptions as to what's happening. I sat down next to him and rested my head on his shoulder. Wait. He's standing against the wall. Is he very short again? Sat down next to him and rested my head on his shoulder. Ide is very short. He put his arm around me and stroked my head. I felt a little better. I got up and went to the kitchen. Made myself a cup of tea and I drank it. This is exactly the very like, hello. This is exactly the kind of I did this, they did this. That seemed to be the major thing that the AI would generate. I wanted to stay awake and I wanted to talk to him. I wanted to stay awake and I wanted to talk to him. Okay. I sat down opposite him and I sipped my tea. It's reading things like this that make me worry it's going to sap out my creative energy and be like, no, I might start writing like this now. I had a dream, I said. What was it? I told, and then it just says, I told him. Which is not necessarily a bad way of doing it, but when it doesn't even tell you.
Oh yeah, Ark.
Oh yeah?
I found a very interesting post on Tumblr written by a short story reviewer.
Oh yeah?
And they reviewed Ben Shapiro's work.
Oh no.
It was very interesting.
Okay.
So, hold on. I'm gonna try and find it.
Okay.
Give me a moment, I gotta freaking pour through my Tumblr.
Okay.
Okay, that should be charged up enough.
This ending does not make any sense either. So it was your dream after all. I stopped and turned around. What does it mean? Is this meant to be a twist ending? If you want a twist ending with something like that, you have to do it. You have to lay it a little bit more subtly, and you have to show someone what is like, you know. What does this mean? What does it mean? I should have asked for someone's actual story to edit, so I can show, like, to do something more constructive than saying, like, this is not how you write a story. Tearing sheets away in the mattress. I think this works because I wrote this input.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why would I stand on my bedside table? Why is my bedside table right over to the window? Throw up the curtains. I'm not going to stand on the table. Crawl over to the window and throw up the curtains.
Don't stand on the table. That's going to damage the table.
We're more worried about slipping off. Standing on my bedside table. I don't need to do that.
You know something really fucking funny?
Go on then.
Huh? What do you say?
I said, yeah, go for it.
So people have been talking about how Ant-Man Quantumania looks exactly like Spy Kids.
Oh, with MODOK?
Yeah, MODOK looks exactly like the dude from Spy Kids,
Oh.
and also like Ant-Man and whatever the fuck, their costumes also perfectly line up with the Spy Kids costumes.
Was Paul Rudd in that, or was he not?
I don't believe so. No.
So it was Antonio Banderas was the dad, wasn't he?
Yeah, but also like the kids from Spy Kids, their costumes are like uncannily similar to the actual Ant-Man costumes.
I heard that it was bad. I have not seen Quantumania. Looking
Me too.
to leaning over the dresser
Oh yeah, there's Bill the Frog.
The sun has risen now, but isn't yet too warm outside, and the cool air feels good, like it might help calm me.
I thought I reblogged it, but I guess not. Now I gotta go working through my fucking likes.
Oh no!
Oh, there's so fucking many.
More people walking up and down the streets than usual, and they seem to be heading towards the same area where I saw those 3 men yesterday. Part of me wonders if they're the ones who've been following me. This is kind of a non sequitur. Where I saw those 3 men yesterday. If we're assuming that this is a part of another story, I don't think we need to have the details about them.
Hey Ark, do you know there's a 22-year window where a samurai could have sent a fax to Abraham Lincoln?
Neat. I mean, I don't know why they'd want to, but...
Yeah, me neither. But hey, there's a 22-year window where it could have happened.
Threatening samurai fax.
Samurai fax to Abraham Lincoln.
Like a new anime series, Samurai Fax.
It's the fucking village.
You can't find it. Yes.
Ink is about the mortifying ordeal of being turned on by improv.
I'm sorry, did you say Brennan Lee Monaghan?
God, Brennan. Also, fun fact: Matthew Mercer's going to be DMing the next going to be DMing for Dimension 20 at some point.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Hello, Fagger.
Bagger! Hello! Welcome.
I'm trying to look for a book reviewer talking about Ben Shapiro's shitty short stories.
I hate that he exists. I hate that he exists so much, and I hate the idea that he's even, like, trying to quantify himself as a writer, because I just want to, like...
Oh, it is so scathing when they're talking about his shit.
Ugh.
It is hilarious.
Okay, so let's see. They're all fallen, left his wife unsatisfied, yeah. Dry, I think, is the term he used. There are more people walking up and down the streets than usual. There seems to be... Part of me wonders if they're the ones that have been following me, but I dismiss the idea. Let's introduce a little bit more context to this, then. That's the way.
Cheers, I can drink to that point.
Even when they tried to. Stuck in my mind. Do my best to dismiss it. Focus on
There it is.
the air through my throat, the open window.
I gotta reblog it before I lose it again.
Okay.
There we go.
I'm not sure how long I stand there, my mind racing. Fighting against any efforts to relax. But eventually I pull myself together and climb back underneath. Pull myself together. Place the covers on the bed and climb back underneath them.
Yeah. They noticed a consistent theming throughout his work
Yeah.
that focused around the fact that Ben is not tall. And so all of his characters had growth spurts, or were like, there was like odd height theming in almost all of his work.
Odd. Is that a kink thing, do you think? Or like...
No, it's just like Ben wishing that he was tall. Because all the characters have growth spurts that he never had.
You know what reminds me a lot? There's a real shitty fucking person around here that self-published a comedy love story, apparently. It's terrible. I read it for my sins. And it was all about how virile this guy was, how much of a sex life he had, and how like attractive he was, and how I don't know, this odd kind of like sexual energy to him, and I'm like, I know exactly who you are, and you're one of the most disgusting people I've ever met. Not necessarily because of how he looks, but because of how he acts. Like, it's the most selfish, awful, narcissistic, like, oleaginous people you could ever like come across.
But yeah, in one of the stories, there's just that character that has a growth spurt and gets like really fucking tall.
Oh,
and
really?
then another one, it is really hilarious because the book could be an allegory on the consumption of the poor to increase the wealth of the upper class.
Okay.
But that's not where it goes.
Of course not.
And so the whole thing of the second book is like there's tech for there's like a tech that can shoot people down so they can fight like germs or some shit. And then the main character gets eaten by somebody.
Okay.
Yeah, and hold on. Yeah, the first book to talk about is called like What's Fair, and it's supposed to be like some sort of folksy bullshit.
Okay.
Like, hold on. I think I'll just send you the link to it because this is a lot of text to scroll through.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's very, very interesting.
Yeah.
And like, at the end of this whole thing, this person is talking about how they're like oddly conflicted. Like, Ben is obviously a very horrible person, but also what they've stumbled upon in this writing, in like a deeper look at it, is it just makes them feel very oddly conflicted about the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me just DM the thing to you. Oh, yeah, also, do you see the thing I sent you on Discord? DM'd you?
1 second.
I sent it to you a while back. It was the cyberpunk meme.
Oh yeah, no, I did get it. I haven't watched it yet.
You should watch it. It's like
okay.
It's like 27 seconds long, and it's very worth your time.
Okay, I will do that, but not on stream.
Let me. There is the review.
Okay. Finally fall asleep, curl beneath the covers. With... It's very important to vary sentence structure as well, and this is one of the bad things I do, is my sentence structure tends to repeat. It tends to be phrase, comma, phrase. And I can see it here, actually, some of it. I know commas are a way to, like, they're like one of the major ways to join phrases together, but it can be very easy for your sentences to become repetitive, and it's a habit that I'm trying to break out of. Sometimes if you just replace a comma with a word like with or and or but or yet, you can affect the rhythm, and it kind of breaks it up enough that someone reading it won't get stuck into those patterns of, repetition, that it becomes boring. And, I've been writing for like 10 years. More than that, actually. I've been writing since I was like 13, so it's, just because I've been writing a long time and been published doesn't mean that you're not going to fall into these habits, and you need an editor or a reader to go, hey, what's this? And you go, oops. It's me. That's what it is.
Yeah, I also found a Daily Binturong account on Twitter. It's great.
Oh, there's a Binturong. Oh, cool.
Daily Binturong, yeah.
Perfect. Tail wrapped around my paws, head on my arm. I wake up sometime during the night. We got comfortable enough to fall asleep. Stay comfortable. And curl up tighter, my tail twitching. Alright, this is the place where it gets stupid. Well, it doesn't get stupid, it gets, like, pretentious. More RP than story, so commas end up acting more as breath and pacing as opposed to proper punctuation. Yeah. RP is a little different. The collaborative storytelling with RP does have a different rhythm, because you're almost exchanging it like dialogue tags. But with, like, description. And the thing is, when you get into that kind of conversational way of telling a story, then commas do become used as that means of like taking a breath. You know, I do this, and I do this, and they do this, and we both do this together. You know, RP is improved. Yes. When I'm adding dramatic pauses, lifts, or lapses, yes. No, they do work really well, and I love them. I love using them like that to change the way. Because you have to visually infer pacing, because everyone reads at different speeds, so you need these tools, whether it's ellipses or semicolons or commas, to infer where someone is supposed to put the dramatic emphasis as they read it. Oh, my juice. Oh, my juice. Okay, so let's see what we can do with this bit. This dream doesn't seem to have anything to do with the feelings that... okay. Then I remember the dream.
EBBB.
EBBB. You punctuating better than other types of punctuation. I mean, I really haven't used anything other than commas much in this. But yeah, like, let's see what we can. Then I remember. Let's look at pacing this bit. If we did, like, breaking this up. Then I remember, colon, the dream, the source of it, full stop. It's the first time I ever had a dream like that. Comma. And the memory, ... won't leave. So that infers... Oh, it's behind my face. Hang on. Okay, so here we go. So this is the bit that you have different sources of pacing in here. Colon. Then I remember the dream, the source of it. It was the first time I ever had a dream like that, and the memory won't leave. We see the difference in spacing with these things. They're not that much different in each thing, but visually it creates a kind of cue for a reader to like look at how these things are pictured or how they're thought. Especially was in RP, it's a weird kind of first second person, so you're inferring this is how I think it and this is how I tell it, and you can infer emotion in a pause. You know, not just pause, but like emotive spaces in writing. And line breaks and things like that also help too. And the memory won't leave. The images dance and taught me at the edges of my content. And you can use run-on sentence, longer pause than a full period while connected, like a comma. Yeah. The images dance and taunt me at the edges of my conscience. Looking at my eyes, but never presenting themselves to me. A mocking of my psyche, my will. Mocking of my psyche, my will, jeering at me that I can't ever take hold of the place I want them to show me. I remember the dream. Not what it... Remember the feelings of longing, of loss, of a place hidden behind a shroud of... What do we say? What is another word for sleep? Somnolent, is that right? Yeah, we'll do that. Whoops. Somnolent. Somnolent. Mist. There we go, that's some righty, arty shit for you.